happened to be there in Israel too.
And so I was on a pilgrimage with my mom in Israel, and I turned around and I saw someone who looked super familiar.
Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come.
The internet doesn't forget, and right now, it's remembering everything about Erika Kirk. Social media is on fire. Posts, threads, comment sections spiraling into something bigger than anyone expected. What started as whispers has become a roar. People aren't just curious anymore. They're angry, they're suspicious, and they're asking questions that don't have easy answers. For years, Erika Kirk was the picture-perfect wife, the devoted partner standing beside Charlie Kirk as he built one of the most influential conservative movements in America. But now, that image is cracking. And what's underneath is what we're here to talk about. Because the allegations swirling around Erika aren't just gossip anymore. They've moved beyond whispers and dark corners of the internet. They've become something darker, something that demands attention. And it all started with a leak, not from a journalist, not from a whistleblower inside Turning Point USA.
Every time Erika got involved in a Turning Point event, something felt off. People got pulled from their posts for no clear reason, replaced with names nobody recognized. They weren't loud about it. They just appeared. They'd hover, take notes, make little adjustments.
This leak allegedly came from someone much closer, Charlie Kirk's own sister. Private family messages, text chains never meant to see the light of day, conversations that, if real, completely flipped the narrative of what we thought was a fairy tale marriage. These texts didn't just raise eyebrows, they shattered assumptions. Because the love story we were sold, it might not have been a love story at all. People are now questioning whether Charlie ever truly knew the woman he married. Think about that. A public figure who built his entire brand on truth and transparency, allegedly confessing to his own family that he doesn't understand the person sleeping next to him. How does that happen? Whispers of manipulation have started to spread. Claims that every smile, every public appearance, every Instagram post was carefully scripted, that nothing about their relationship was organic, that it was all performed. And if that's true, the next question becomes obvious. Performed for who? The theory making the rounds online is brutal. That Erika didn't marry Charlie Kirk out of love, that she married him for influence, for access, for control. Some are going even further. They're saying she didn't just ride the wave of Turning Point USA's success, she controlled it. That behind the scenes, away from the cameras, Erika was the one pulling the strings.
It wasn't like they were running things outright, more like they were watching, testing reactions. And they did strange things, subtle stuff, asking for background checks on volunteers who'd already cleared, rerouting internal comms through temporary systems nobody could verify, requesting access to attendee lists that had nothing to do with their role. What most people don't realize is that Erika had already started acting like CEO before Charlie even died. She was giving orders, making executive calls, speaking for the organization in ways that made all of us uncomfortable.
The puppet master in a tailored dress and a perfect smile. And Charlie, he was the face, the voice, but not the decision maker, not anymore. Then there's the theory spreading the fastest, the one that sounds like a spy thriller, the honey trap. It's an old tactic. You identify a target with power and influence, and you send someone in, someone charming, someone irresistible, someone who can get close without raising alarms. And once they're in, they influence, they redirect, they control. People online are claiming Erika Kirk had connections beyond conservative donors, ties to powerful international figures, alleged relationships with people who operate in shadows, not spotlights. Is it true? We don't know. But the fact that the theory exists tells you how far trust has eroded. Even before the tragedy, there were rumors that Charlie was under pressure, not just normal stress, something heavier, something darker. Reports suggest forces were working behind the scenes, that people with influence were making moves Charlie couldn't see coming, that he was being cornered slowly, methodically, without realizing it. And some insiders believe the details we know are just the surface, that the real truth is far worse than anything made public. So what was Charlie Kirk afraid of? Let's rewind to the beginning. The official story is that Charlie and Erika's relationship blossomed naturally. A chance meeting, a shared vision, a partnership built on mutual respect and love. But now, people are saying it was never chance at all, that the job, the meeting, the marriage, every single step was orchestrated, planned, executed with precision. And those leaked texts, they're only intensifying that suspicion. Because if Charlie's own family is questioning what happened, if his sister felt the need to expose private conversations, what does that tell you? The texts themselves are hard to read. Allegedly, they show Charlie in raw vulnerability, confessing to his family that he doesn't recognize Erika anymore, that the woman he married has become someone else entirely. The public reaction was immediate: shock, sympathy, outrage, because this wasn't political. This was personal, human. A man realizing too late that he might have been deceived by the person closest to him. Inside Turning Point USA, things were shifting. According to sources, Charlie started noticing it in the final year. Erika wasn't just attending events anymore, she was making executive decisions without consulting him. She was positioning herself as the authority, not the supportive spouse, the leader. Staff members allegedly started deferring to her instead of Charlie, waiting for her approval before moving forward, treating her like she was the one in charge. And Charlie, still the face, still the name on the door, but the power was slipping away. Then a whistleblower came forward, someone inside Turning Point USA who had watched it all unfold. They claimed Erika's actions weren't impulsive, they were strategic, calculated, rehearsed, that every move she made, every relationship she built, every alliance she formed was part of a larger plan, and the endgame? To replace Charlie entirely. Even the events themselves started to feel different. People who had attended Turning Point USA conferences for years began noticing changes. The atmosphere had shifted. Social media posts were being altered, edited. Old content was disappearing. History was being rewritten in real time, and nobody was talking about it, because inside the organization, fear had taken root. New faces started appearing at events. Longtime attendees suddenly stopped showing up, and in their place, strangers, unfamiliar individuals who weren't interested in the mission. They were there to observe, to take notes, to monitor. Who were they? Where did they come from? Why were they given access? Nobody had answers, but everyone had theories. Employees inside Turning Point USA began to feel it too. The sensation of being watched, of being monitored, of operating under a microscope. According to reports, Erika's team moved slowly, methodically. They didn't rush, they just observed and waited. It's the kind of behavior that makes people paranoid. And in an organization built on loyalty and trust, that's poison. Then there were the donors. Major donors writing 7-figure checks. Claims emerged that these donors wanted more than influence. They wanted full control. Charlie allegedly pushed back. He wanted transparency. He wanted to maintain the integrity of the organization he built. But Erika, according to insiders, she aligned with the donors. She saw their vision. She supported their goals. And slowly, Charlie's voice became quieter. The shift was gradual, almost invisible at first. Erika started making executive calls, directing staff, issuing orders behind the scenes, and Charlie's influence, it shrank week by week, month by month, until people inside the organization realized something horrifying. Charlie Kirk was being pushed out of his own movement. Now, insiders are asking a question that sounds insane. Was the marriage ever romantic at all, or was it always an operation? Some are claiming Erika was planted, that she was reporting to outside forces, that her entire relationship with Charlie was a mission, not a marriage. It sounds like conspiracy theory, but the more you look at the timeline, the harder it becomes to dismiss. Let's go back to the very beginning, to the night it all started. The official story is simple. Charlie and Erika met at Bill's Burgers in New York City in 2018 to a casual dinner, a business interview. They talked for 3 hours. The conversation was intense, and the rest is history. But now, people are asking different questions, like, why Erika? At the time, she had no political background, no leadership experience, no obvious reason to be sitting across from one of the most influential young voices in America. So who arranged that meeting? Who made the introduction? And why did she have direct access to Charlie in the first place? Because if you're building a long-term plan, it would look like this. Step 1, earn trust, be charming, be supportive, be indispensable. Step 2, infiltrate the inner circle. Get close to decision makers. Build relationships. Step 3, take control, slowly, quietly, until the target doesn't realize they've lost power. It's textbook, and it's terrifying. Look at the timeline. A mysterious dinner in New York. Structural changes inside Turning Point USA. And after the tragedy, Erika's sudden rise. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe something far more deliberate. Charlie believed in destiny. He said so publicly. He talked about how he and Erika were meant to find each other. But insiders are now suggesting that destiny was scripted, that the meeting wasn't fate, it was strategy. And Charlie, a man who built his career on questioning narratives, never questioned his own. Here's where it gets stranger. Erika claims she first saw Charlie at the Tel Aviv airport. She was traveling with her mother on a religious pilgrimage, and there, in a crowded terminal, she spotted him. A mutual friend allegedly introduced them shortly after, but people are asking, how convenient is that? An encounter in Israel? A shared faith? A perfect story. Too perfect? Because if you wanted to establish credibility, what better origin story than a divine encounter in the Holy Land? It's romantic, it's spiritual, it's unquestionable, unless it was planned. So the question becomes, why Erika Kirk? Investigators online have started digging into her background, her family, her history, and Charlie's sister, Mary, allegedly raised concerns early on. Concerns that were dismissed, ignored. Now people are wishing they'd listened. Because Erika's family background is complicated. Allegations have surfaced of military connections, intelligence ties, links to the Department of Homeland Security. Her family allegedly ran businesses in private security, defense contracting, the kind of work that requires clearances, the kind that operates in shadows. And suddenly, Erika's rapid rise doesn't look accidental anymore. Arizona isn't just a red state. It's a hub for private defense contractors, security firms, companies specializing in surveillance and classified operations. Phoenix, Scottsdale. These cities are home to networks most people never see. And according to reports, Erika's family was connected to those networks, which means her involvement with Charlie might not have been purely emotional. It might have been strategic, calculated, professional, and the context explains everything. The access, the trust, the speed at which she embedded herself into his life. Critics are saying Erika Kirk wasn't just a wife, she was a position. Turning Point USA was in a vulnerable moment. The organization was growing, gaining power, and Charlie was operating outside the control of the traditional conservative establishment. That made him dangerous, unpredictable, and if you can't control someone directly, the smartest tactic is to get close to them, through someone they trust. Erika's rise inside the organization was remarkably fast. She started appearing at internal events, in promotional materials, in decision-making rooms. Staff members noticed the shift, the way authority seemed to flow toward her, the way Charlie deferred to her more and more, and nobody said anything, because how do you question the boss's wife? But staffers felt it, the way the room changed when Erika entered, the way conversations paused, the way people waited for her approval. Charlie was still the founder, still the name, but he wasn't the sole authority anymore. Let's revisit that encounter in Israel. What if it wasn't chance? What if that glance in the airport was the beginning of something much larger? An operation planned with military precision, a target identified, a strategy deployed. It sounds extreme, but the pieces fit. And so we return to the central question. Was this a love story, or was it a professional operation? Was it destiny, or scripted manipulation? The public story of Erika's family is simple. Devoted parents, faith-driven, humble, but corporate records tell a different story. Defense-related businesses, government contracts, work requiring high-level security clearances. This isn't a family of teachers. This is a family embedded in national security machinery. One company stands out, AZ Tech International, founded by Erika's mother, Lori Kirk. The work, defense, surveillance, digital warfare, the kind of operations governments don't talk about publicly. Erika's father isn't just a passive investor either. He's listed as director of program research, hands-on involvement in defense projects. This is a family operating in the same sector, aligned, coordinated, and now people are asking, did they align on Erika's mission too? Then there's GTK Industries, another company founded by Lori Kirk. This one worked directly with the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, intelligence units, focus areas, cybersecurity, data analysis, surveillance, the kind of work that shapes power from behind the scenes. And most of these projects aren't publicly listed. Undisclosed funding, restricted contracts, heavy oversight, which means even if you wanted to investigate, you'd hit classified walls. There's also a charity, Romanian Angels, marketed as a humanitarian mission helping orphans in Eastern Europe, except the charity operated near a U.S. military base, and the funding sources, unusually opaque. Former staff recall being told not to ask questions, to stay quiet. And then there's Lori Kirk herself. She was originally the co-founder, the public face, but at some point her name was removed from records. Archived content was deleted. Why? The sudden silence is suspicious. Lori distanced herself publicly. Former staff recall a directive to maintain secrecy. Was there an intervention? A scandal? Pressure from external forces? Nobody's talking, but the pattern is clear. Something happened, and it was serious enough to erase her presence. Look at the overlap. A charity operating near military infrastructure, defense contracts, tech companies specializing in surveillance. People are wondering if the charity was a cover, a front for something else. Humanitarian organizations have been used as strategic tools before. It's a pattern, and it's effective. Because here's what we're seeing: a family embedded in sectors of power, defense, intelligence, surveillance, but publicly, they present as faith-driven, charitable, kind. The image is crafted, polished, perfect, and influence is masked by kindness. There's another connection worth noting. Erika worked on Trump's campaign. Charlie's father worked on Trump Tower. Their political worlds intersected long before they met. Coincidence or groundwork? After Charlie's passing, something felt wrong. People noticed Erika's demeanor at the memorials. She was smiling, laughing, appearing detached. Fans who had followed the couple for years described her behavior as staged, performative. It didn't feel like grief. It felt like a role. Then the memorial itself became controversial. The event was moved from Illinois to Arizona. Charlie's family reportedly didn't attend. There were disputes over how the service was handled, over who was allowed to speak, over filming and media access. It felt less like a tribute and more like a production. And then there are the J.D. Vance rumors. Allegations surfaced of interference with the transportation of Charlie's body. Claims it was removed before a full autopsy could be completed. None of this has been confirmed, but the silence around it, that's deafening. So let's step back and look at the web. Israel, New York, Arizona, Washington, D.C., defense ties, charity links, political power. Every thread connects. Every coincidence leads to another. At what point does a pattern stop being coincidence and start being design? The public is demanding answers now. Every action Erika takes is scrutinized, every statement analyzed, every silence questioned. And the more she stays quiet, the louder the speculation becomes, because people believe something is being hidden, and they're not stopping until they find it. This story isn't just about one couple. It's about something bigger. It's about the gap between image and truth, about how charm and presentation can mask reality, about how power operates behind curtains while the public watches a carefully crafted show. We're told stories, we're sold narratives, and we believe them because they're beautiful. But what happens when the story cracks, when the narrative doesn't hold? So here's the final question. Was this all coincidence? A series of unfortunate misunderstandings and tragic timing? Or was it calculated, planned from the beginning, executed step by step? Who's really writing the story here? And more importantly, what are they not telling us? If this investigation resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Drop a comment below with your theories, because this story isn't over, not even close. The truth is out there, and we're going to find it.